'Twas the night before Christmas when
It's that time of year again where everyone is getting into that holiday spirit. Families flying in for Christmas
It's
break,
different this time around. So we headed through the airport.
credit card companies suspicious of your heightened activity, and neighbors all across the world attempting to one-up each other's light shows. And I'm just trying to figure out how reindeers keep not only the sleigh, but Santa's big back up in the air. It's miracle work. If you guessed hallucinogenic mushrooms, you might actually be
For
right.
context, mushrooms have not only been used for food,
I thought mushrooms are so good.
but
It almost sounds sacrilegious to mix psychedelics and holiday festivities,
Yeah, right there's the Amanita.
but there's actually a fair amount of historical evidence suggesting modern Christmas traditions to be born out of trippy rituals. From flying reindeer, presents, ornaments, to the bearded man from the North Pole himself,
So you're telling me that someone has hacked into all of our databases? Even the backup?
there are countless iconographic overlaps with indigenous psychedelic shamanism in Siberia and Northern Europe. Some historians and anthropologists even argue that Santa Claus is actually a magic mushroom shaman, indicated by his red and white outfit and indisputable ability of fitting between small spaces.
You have got to be kidding.
Come on, look at the size of this thing.
Pause.
Resembling that of the psychedelic Amanita Muscaria mushroom, better known as the fly agaric mushroom. A fungus as bright red as Rudolph's sniffer, sprinkled with white specks like snowflakes. Drawing upon this among other evidence discovered throughout the past few centuries, quite a few scholars subscribe to theories that numerous Christmas traditions spawned from pagan psychedelic rituals. The Amanita Muscaria mushroom is so iconic, it's often the first breed of fungi that comes to mind. Its name derives from an old use as a fly-killing pesticide, but today it's better known for its cameo in emojis and ubiquity in pop culture. From children's fairy tales like Alice in Wonderland, to the Smurfs, even the mushroom in Super Mario,
Everybody loves mushrooms, right?
I like mushrooms, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Mario, seriously, what were you thinking?
able to grant magical abilities,
Really?
Go on, eat it.
subtly hints at the psychedelic properties of such a fungus.
Not cool.
In fact, one of the most commonly reported effects from ingesting such a mushroom are Gulliverian and Lilliputian hallucinations, both terms coined from the novel Gulliver's Travels, following the eponymous tourist as he encounters little people known as Lilliputians.
General Edward Edwardian, commander of Lilliput. All hail Lilliput! All hail Lilliput! You are herewith charged with aiding our sworn enemy, the Lilliputians.
Therefore, describing the hallucinations had from Amanita Muscaria, which gives people the illusion of shrinking or growing, meaning there is some truth to the resizing effects that come with Alice
color, a twisting tunnel of light, the world folded in on itself. And then, silence.
I got this. No problem.
and Mario. In the oldest known text seemingly referring to Lilliputian illusions, Saint Macarius, the elder of Alexandria around 345 AD, speaks of little strangers that he comes across as well. Ancient Siberian peoples refer to fly agaric men and Amanita women in connection with the Lilliputian hallucinations said to occur in the context of Amanita intoxication. But what does this have to do with Christmas, you might ask? Well, Amanita mushrooms are scattered across the world, on every continent,
I'm on my way to the hermitage of a man named Vasil.
except Antarctica. Humans have been using them as an entheogen, or a psychoactive substance used for religious or spiritual purposes, since ancient Europe, Asia, and even in the Americas. It's been even speculated to very well be the oldest entheogen known to mankind. Even more fascinating, the mushrooms only grow beneath trees,
But only one
and
person
not just
is here.
any type, specifically under pine and birch trees. Amanitas are mycorrhizal mushrooms, deriving from the Greek words for fungus and root, meaning they require the root of trees in order to survive. When they sprout up, almost like magic, the mushrooms may give the appearance of presence from higher powers. It's like God jizz on the ground, and Some even grow up to 30 centimeters in height, or the length of a sheet of paper. Amanitas are commonly depicted in old Christmas cards, and the mushrooms themselves were used as ornaments.
Most commonly associated with
When you start adding up some of the details out there, the idea that Santa was a mushroom shaman who flew around on tripping reindeer starts to make some sense. At the very least, these historical elements could have bled together with other Christmas origin stories, such as St. Nicholas being one of the progenitors of Santa Claus. Either way, it's a good reminder that, despite Christ in the title, most Christmas traditions have very little to do with Jesus Christ himself. Outside of the annual year-end hoarding of consumerism, there may just be darker roots of our Christmas past. The story of Santa Claus is not the creation of Coca-Cola, though their 1931 advertising campaign featuring a warm, jolly red-suited Santa popularized the modern image we know today, cementing it globally through consistent marketing from the 1930s through the 60s. Before Coca-Cola, Santa's image had varied, sometimes depicted as tall and gaunt, or in green, blue, or brown suits. But in many ways, St. Nicholas nor its children's tale were the origins of our jovial friend. The story of Santa exists because of a small living being with great powers, the Amanita Muscaria mushroom. The archetypal toadstool of our cultural imagination, the humble red and white mushroom of Nintendo's Mario universe.
Great.
The literal mushroom memoji whose rotund figure graces children's books, vintage holiday cards, folk art, and even modern fashion trends also threads itself through stories, legends, and nightmares going back centuries. In fact, the Amanita's traditional use as an entheogen throughout Eurasia is well documented and has been hypothesized to be responsible for key aspects of our modern Christmas traditions. From bright red ornaments, flying reindeer, and even jolly Saint Nick arriving via chimney with gifts wrapped in red and white. But how deep do these inner linings really go? With its snowy red and white pattern, a 3 to 8 inch diameter range, and stem up to a foot tall, the Amanita Muscaria may well be the easiest mushroom to identify. The young fruiting body is covered in a white universal veil, separating and breaking into smaller white flakes or warts as the mushroom elongates and matures. The gills of this basidiomycete are free and white, which match the white spore print and giving a cosmopolitan distribution. The species are found on all continents except the conveniently aforementioned Antarctica, and is introduced and considered invasive throughout the southern hemisphere, including New Zealand, Tasmania, and Australia, our brethren from down under. With there being several variants and subspecies all across the globe, providing variety not only for its genetic population, but also the psychological cultural implications. American, yellow-orange, peach-colored, white, and royal being the currently discovered species in the Amanita family, with Muscaria as a well-known native to Europe and Asia with limited occurrence in Alaska as well. Its mycorrhizal nature allowing it to form complex associations with a range of hardwood and softwood tree species including birch, pine, and spruce by enveloping their tree roots with its hyphen network, scavenging water and nutrients from the source in exchange for sugars produced through photosynthesis.
Barter and trade with other organisms like little stockbrokers. Basically, there's a whole economy of nutrients right beneath our feet that we are just uncovering.
Now let's get into it like Inuits.
In the winter.
Yo, I've been trying to find a way to slip this joke in for like weeks now. Let's go! Hundreds of years ago, it was found that the winter solstice ceremony of the indigenous people of the North Pole, especially the Koryaks of Siberia and the Kamchadals in surrounding areas, had similar traditions to the ones of the last century's Christmas Eve. In the ancestral communities of the Arctic, the winter solstice occurring on December 21st was a ceremonial and festive date. Rituals were conducted that were guided by shamans who collected the Amanita Muscaria mushrooms, providing powerful hallucinogenic properties and spiritual intention. Amanita Muscaria, striking and characteristic in appearance, growing in the ground near birch and pine trees, which for the indigenous peoples of the north are trees of life. a name that comes from the great height sprouting in such despicable conditions. The toxicity of the mushroom when ingested is high, so before taking the Amanita, they had to dehydrate them on nearby pine branches. An alternative was to put them in socks and spread them over the fire, an image closely resembling our modern Christmas rite of hanging stockings over the metaphorical or literal chimney. Additionally, the reindeer were of great help in reducing the toxicity of the mushroom, since they can eat Amanita Muscaria too without suffering the effects of its venom. Thus, the urine of the animals were also used, since they were already biologically predisposed to filtering the harmful components of the mushroom, while, and this is the kicker, still able to maintain its hallucinogenic effects even when already excreted.
I'm starting to feel funny.
Well, I feel fine. I guess I'm gonna...
Oh boy, that means I win. I get to eat.
How delectable. After the shaman had ingested the mushrooms or drank the urine of the reindeer, whichever one he was feeling at the moment, I'm assuming, then the hallucinations and reactions of the Amanita began, such as feelings of joy, desire to sing, or even temporary increased muscle tone, so any physical effort was easier to perform. Legends say that during their trips the shamans managed to see the future of the tribe. They could turn into animals and fly towards the North Star in search of knowledge to share with the rest of the community. At the end of their hallucinogenic experience, they would return to the group in their yer, which outside of being a term of greeting in New York, as long as it's a silent T, was also the type of housing typical of the inhabitants of the outer Siberian region at the time. Think igloos, but not made out of ice and a freaking superhost on Airbnb. The shamans met with the important individuals of the town to begin with the solstice ceremony in addition to sharing their visions with the community. The more I dig into this, the more I realize Katara and the entire water tribe were probably tripping out of their minds, thinking they could bloodbend.
You were waterbending again, weren't you?
Don't worry, no one can see me.
The shaman's psychotropic journeys are believed to be related to the idea that Santa Claus travels with his sleigh and reindeer through the skies to deliver gifts. The gift given by the shamans was the knowledge that the mushrooms gave them, in addition to sharing portions of it amongst those present. Even more intriguing is that the entrance to the yurts was a hole in the roof, since the main door was mostly covered with snow. Thus, the shaman made his appearance descending from the highest part of the house, mirroring to that of Santa Claus descending through our metaphorical chimneys.
Fred, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Clothing was another, since to honor the Amanita, the shamans dressed in red and white clothes. And to protect themselves from the snow, they would use large reindeer leather boots that, over time, you can't make this up, turned black. Over time, the shamanic archetype changed, and it's said that with the travel of druids, this tradition spread to Great Britain. Then, through inevitable cultural exchange, was combined with the Germanic and Nordic myths that related adventures such as those of Wotan and Odin.
I just want to talk. Dad to dad.
And other gods from either, who, when traveling during the night of the winter solstice, were chased by demons in a sleigh pulled by an 8-legged horse. It was said that a trail of red and white blood fell from the sleigh, and that the horses frothed white foam to the ground, where the Amanita mushrooms would appear the very next year. It's like Last Christmas meets Sleepy Hollow. Nice. With time, Christianity related the Christmas traditions to the 4th century Turkish bishop Saint Nick of Bari, inspiring more so for our modern rendition of Santa, as he used to give gifts to those in need, and especially the children during the winter months. The Amanita Muscaria mushroom has marked the history of Christmas until today. The rites on the dates close to the December solstice has been preserved, though with clear modifications. But the mushroom remains present through Christmas decoration and designs that connect us with hundreds of years of tradition.
He's doing well, by the way, and will continue to do so just as long as I return to Asgard sometime soon. Besides, our friend here has a whole lot to live for. Arguable.
The fly agaric or Amanita mushrooms are very different from our pop culture's ordinarily considered mushrooms of the magical variety. A. muscaria doesn't contain any of the same psychoactive ingredients, but instead carries a cocktail of hallucinogenic compounds, including ibotenic acid, which is then converted to mucimol in the body. Oddly enough, also secreted by desert toads.
They're constantly producing this poison, so...
Fun fact, users of the Amanita may also experience dreamlike, sedating feelings as well as agitation, confusion, dizziness, auditory and visual perceptual changes, along with the distortions of space and time. So, fairly standard. The effects usually wear off after 24 hours, but one case report detailed a man who had a 5-day paranoid bender after ingestion. Death, while rare, is not unheard of from these mushrooms, which are widely considered by mycologists to be toxic in nature. That's when reindeer urine comes into play.
Oh God, why didn't anybody tell me?
Let me not. But what about its biological build allows its hallucinogenic properties? As you can't just pull up to your local bodega, cop some portobellos and have the best weekend of your life. Well, maybe culinarily, but you know.
Oh, no, last night I went to that other spot. Like, there's that one spot in Bushwick. Anyway, bro, listen, I was on the dance floor, right? No, yeah, I wasn't rolling, but what?
The red and white bulb we call the mushroom is really just the fruit of the plant. The rest of the fungus is underground like many other vegetation, forming an intricate network of filaments called mycelia that worms its way into the roots of trees.
The consciousness of nature's connection to all living things.
The two organisms then trade nutrients, so in other words, it's a symbiotic relationship. No roots, no mushrooms. That's why it's not easy to reproduce the Amanitas at scale, though there are researchers who are trying to solve this very issue. For reindeer, these mushrooms are a delightful treat, and yes, they seem to experience some kind of intoxicating effects from ingesting them as well. Humans aren't the only animals that like to get, well, smacked. Many creatures from dolphins to bears and jaguars have been known to seek out intoxicating substances organically found in nature. Reindeers in and around the Arctic region are known to actively seek out and consume the mushrooms, with people observing the animals after ingesting reporting of erratic behavior or random leaping about. When these reindeer get buzzed on Amanita Muscaria, they behave somewhat drunkenly. The prancing behavior, especially to someone who had already taken it themselves, might appear like flying. I mean, it's that, or you can take a sip of the reindeer urine. Since, you know, through shamanic knowledge of its efficacy, science. The Sami people of Lapland, whom hail from northern Finland, not far from the North Pole I might add, centered both reindeer and fly agaric mushrooms in their culture. Sami religious leaders called shamans as well would act as mediators between this world and the spirit world, traveling by reindeer as they visited homes during the winter solstice to perform healing rituals with the psychedelic amanitas. The shamans were even known to dress in characteristic red and white, just like in Siberia. Not only that, but during the winter, many doorways would also be snowed in, leaving only one way to enter: down the chimney. So in many ways, Santa is a modern counterpart of a shaman, who consumes mind-altering plants and fungi to commune with the spirit world. But this still leaves us the question, how strong is the evidence for this psychedelic Christmas tale? It's intriguing, but somewhat off from definitive. Part of the problem is that shamanism in Siberia was stamped out by the SU, which banned the religion barring anyone from practicing it. The Sami also experienced colonization from Finland, which has helped make reindeer herding all but obsolete. There isn't really anyone to ask about how much truth there is to these legends, but perhaps writing it all off as coincidences, dismissive in its own right. Nevertheless, it might not be necessarily such a bad thing that Christ has less and less to do with modern Christmas every year. Sure, rampant consumerism and the diminishing of religious communities is nothing society should disregard. Instead, these Christmas traditions are an amalgamation of many different cultures, religions, and ways of understanding the world around us. or just, you know, surviving the harshness of winter using fantastic stories while getting lit at the same time. Ergo, humanity hasn't really changed at all. Well,
just listen to the story.
Maybe a little.
This babe, bro, I tell you, she's the one. You know, I've been talking about like manifesting love and shit. When I looked at her, I knew, bro, we connected, like we locked eyes, like, no.
From Slavic cultures considering good luck to hang up mushroom ornaments, to the German traditional dish called Pilsum, or mushroom soup had during the holidays, a popular hearty soup dish made with a variety of mushrooms including the Amanita Muscaria mushroom, a more elevated mushroom soup, if you will. You really can't escape the A. muscaria when diving into Christmas traditions across the globe. Vikings during the Middle Ages amongst Nordic countries even have a winter solstice celebration called Jol, during which people often ate Amanita Muscaria mushrooms and drink beer made with mushrooms too. On top of our shamanic rituals around Siberia, the more you look into how Christmas traditions originated, you can't help but to stumble upon our red and white friend. However, like anything passed down over time, verbally I might add, details become hazy and elements are overplayed based on interpretation and perspectives, leading to alternative and many times wild and untamed theories. Therefore, concurrently with our modern-day Christmas conventions, conspiracies and theories of outlandish sources for modern Christmas customs persist along with the Amanita Muscaria roots. Pun undoubtedly intended. One common theory is that Christmas was strategically placed at the end of December during the winter solstice specifically to appropriate popular pagan festivals, such as the Roman festival of the birthday of the sun, or Sol Invictus, or the Norse celebration of Yule. Liturgical historians often accept a relation to solar worship with these festivities, though other theories posits the date to have been calculated as 9 months after the vernal equinox, a date chosen for Jesus' conception. Another biblical conspiracy, if you will, point out that many common nativity story elements, like the presence of an innkeeper, a stable with specific animals, or exactly 3 kings, are not explicitly detailed in the Bible and are later additions to its story. In the 17th century, English Puritans outlawed Christmas celebrations because they considered the association, revelry, and traditions to be wasteful, decadent, and a deviation from core Christian beliefs. Even if the ban was later revoked, it still shows you the push and pull even 400 years ago between tradition and modernity. As we head into the 21st century, the end of the year now more so revolves around commercialism and capitalistic endeavors. Newer theories even suggest that the modern, quiet, family-oriented version of Christmas was a conscious invention by 19th century New York aristocrats to replace rowdier, more disruptive folk traditions and to indoctrinate the working class into bourgeois values of calm and productivity. There's even a newer age controversy, colloquially known as the War on Christmas, involving objections by some groups who feel that generic terms like holidays or corporate efforts to be multiculturally sensitive diminish the Christian nature of the holiday. You even got subreddits for fan theories of Santa's delivery logistics and how parents manage to evade their Murphy descendants and get to the tree unnoticed, while also managing a believable bite out of the chocolate chip evidence left behind. But my favorite has to be the fan theory that our famous Home Alone protagonist, Kevin McAllister, after years of torment, eventually became the Saw franchise's Jigsaw? Citing their shared penchant for elaborate, violent traps. This one holds a special place in my heart.
What do I owe you? Looks like you paid online. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
But what does all of this mean for us today? Well, for one thing, it means the next time you enjoy a delicious bowl of mushroom soup on Christmas Eve, think back on all of our ancestors whom too took part in their own intake of mushroom soup. Then you can pop on that Santa suit, and not the Coca-Cola one, okay? We going full Siberian shaman out this hoe. Ho. But more importantly, it's a reminder that Christmas is a time for celebration and connection with those that matter the most. It's a time to come together with our loved ones and appreciate the beauty of the world around us. And if we're lucky, maybe we could get that non-evasive, quickly diminishing, don't gotta shovel much snow too. So this Christmas, raise a glass to the mushrooms. These festive fungi have helped to bring us together for centuries, and they continue to make our holiday season more magical than ever. Yeah. Following the how do you but what does this even have to do with some fuck the gills of this bass? God damn. Is it one time or is it why? One time. Is it too late to open up? I'm dying to say, oh how I love you. You're walking towards me now. Push my pride aside when I close my eyes. It's just you and I here under the mistletoe. Bruh, how many Christmas songs does this girl have? The answer is 35. You're welcome.